So the Oxford English Dictionary defines it as a liberty of action, especially when excessive disregard of the law or propriety of the use of freedom. This, of course, then is freedom without responsibility. It's trusting in God's grace and then living however one pleases. And I think a really good example of this is when you compare the French Revolution with the Reformation and also later the American Revolution. To put it simple, the French Revolution was about license, not really liberty. And of course, jumping ahead to the American Revolution, there was definitely a God-centered goal here. Again, I know not all the founders were necessarily born-again believers, but still they had a sense of the Bible. And even Ben Franklin, who was around at the time of the Great Awakening, was very outspoken at how the Great Awakening had influenced the nation, and said that it really transformed society. He said that the streets were filled with morality. Why? Because it wasn't just a self-serving freedom that took place. So what you had with the Great Awakening is you had not only people getting saved, but you had people who already were saved wanting to basically use this freedom that Paul is talking about to serve and to spread the gospel. Notice Paul says, do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh. So what Paul's talking about here is not our physical body, but the flesh means our fallen and sinful nature. Do not use your freedom from the law as an excuse to live any way that you would like to and indulge in our sinful nature. So Paul makes it clear here, and of course going back to verses 19 to 21, he gives the list of vices, and these are what come naturally to our fallen human nature. And it doesn't take a genius to realize where all of this comes from. Some of them are behaviors, and of course, like sexual immorality. When you list certain sins like these, sorcery or witchcraft, drunkenness, sensuality, a lot of people at that part, people can pat themselves on the back and feel pretty good about themselves at this point. Many are not guilty of those sins. So Paul gets to what someone might call respectable sins. Sins that don't jump out at us, so to speak. Sins that we tolerate, like anger, rivalries, dissensions, divisions. Many churches, of course, won't put up with sexual immorality, but many will put up with anger and division. Paul puts them on the same list. Then he says, I warn you, as I warned you before, that those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. Wait a minute, I thought that was Jesus plus nothing equals acceptance with God. Now you're telling me that if you trust in Jesus and do these things that you're not, or that you're out? Yes. And Paul Paul says, because good works, now listen to this, good works aren't the basis of our acceptance with God, but they are the result of it. If Jesus is truly in our lives, then he will transform us. That this list doesn't characterize our lives. God accepts us the way we are, but he doesn't leave us there. We've heard that saying, the first part, many times, that God accepts us the way we are. True. But if we're truly of him, he is not going to allow us to stay that way. So, if the list characterizes our life, then it's a sign that we really haven't experienced the grace of God in our lives. You see, true freedom doesn't mean that we live however we like. This isn't really freedom at all. Jesus said in John 8:34, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin." If you use your freedom from the law as an opportunity to sin, you've just entered a different kind of slavery. You're no longer a slave to the law, but you're a slave to sin. These two lists, by the way, are the two ways to be lost. One is the religious way, to live according to rules and the law. This isn't what it means to be a Christian. It's dangerous because it looks like you're good, but you're not. The other way is to be lost and to indulge in the sinful nature and to do whatever you'd like. Paul says that neither of these are what he's talking about. Neither one is true freedom. Both of these are forms of slavery. True freedom is not doing whatever we please. That, of course, would be selfish. Just another good example, look around us today. Most of these protests we see on TV, they are simply self-serving. They're not about improving the nation or improving our everyday freedoms. It's about, what can I get at this moment? What can I get right here, right now? And what does Paul say to do with our freedom? Use our freedom to serve one another. And that's the grace that has been bestowed upon us will equip us and cause us to perform good works, not the other way around. Okay, we will close there. Let's go ahead and ask the Lord's blessing on the rest of this service. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for being able to come into your house and to hear your word and to also sing your praises and to take our petitions before you. Lord, just be with each and every one of us in our daily lives. And we just pray for Bruce and Brock as they go to Dothan this Tuesday. Just be with them, continue to work there, and continue to work in the hearts of the people they are speaking to. Just be with the ladies as some of them are struggling with health. We just pray for your healing hand upon them. Just be with Sri and his situation and his family. And just ask for your blessings and care over them. All these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.